Hey everybody, it's Daniel here from InfoWest. Hope you're all doing well. So you probably have heard about it in the news already. DeepSeek coming out, creating fears in the markets, causing the equity markets, especially the tech index, NASDAQ, to sell off aggressively. Now, NASDAQ wasn't the only index that sold off aggressively. We did see the S&P 500 also sell off, the Russell 2000 as well, the small cap index, and yes, as well as the Dow Jones. Now, looking at after yesterday's price action, we did see a pullback in the equity markets at the open and a little bit of choppiness in the S&P and in NASDAQ. Now this morning we're getting a little bit of a sell-off here in NASDAQ, in the S&P, and also in the Russell 2000. Let's see how long this can hold, and let's see if we will get the same dip buyers that we got yesterday. Now, what's interesting is the Dow Jones. Well, it's not interesting. It's kind of makes sense. Dow Jones rallied and basically made all-time highs yesterday, and we're seeing strength from Dow Jones because it's the one to be the least affected with all this DeepSeek fears, right? So if you think about it, you kind of have money being transferred, basically being taken out from the ones that are being affected by this DeepSeek issue and being poured into the ones that would benefit from it. So you would think that, okay, the Dow being the strongest would probably benefit and be the least affected from this DeepSeek issue. Now, there's a couple of things to also keep in mind and consider with the DeepSeek. It just came out, right? And we're just starting to hear about it, which is funny because you would think that, there would be competition in the AI field. You would think that, with whatever NVIDIA is doing and all the AI chip companies doing, you would think that someone would come out with an analysis talking about that there might be a better way to do things. But no, right? We have to wait until we hear a Chinese competitor like DeepSeek basically come out and rattle the markets. So that's one thing, is that, it's surprising to see that much of a shock from the markets and, and not realize that, competition is very much expected. The other thing is that also DeepSeek being Chinese, what will that be, in terms of trade, with the trade wars that are happening? What will that look like, and what will Trump do? Will he do anything in terms of blocking or trying to limit DeepSeek in its ability to list its app on the App Store in the U.S., right? Will we see any pushback of that? That's another thing to consider. And will that be positive for the U.S., any U.S. AI chip firms? Or could we see, DeepSeek or a lot of these AI chip companies focus more of bringing their facility in America, basically kind of fixing things there? So that's another thing to also consider. The third thing is that, again, it's new information and we have yet to hear the true potential and whether it is true or not that DeepSeek can be more powerful with less, right? And we also heard that DeepSeek is using AI's hardware there and infrastructure and NVIDIA's basically all the infrastructure from NVIDIA, and there's questions around how did DeepSeek get it when there's all these restraints around the chip industry, right? And so that's another question there too. So there's all these uncertainties. So in terms of the DeepSeek issue, yes, initially caused a jolt and a reaction in the tech names and other names that are not fully affected by DeepSeek would do better. But we're still learning and seeing how this comes out, and what it means in terms of the US AI chip companies and how they compete in terms of DeepSeek, and whether they will be able to do something along the lines of making things cheaper, efficient, and more powerful. Now, in terms of the other companies, tech companies like Meta, Google, etc., there's also a problem there as well, because they have promised certain capex and certain investment into these AI chips, right? Into basically being more, investing more into AI. And if all this investment is in old technology, then what does that mean for those companies, right? In terms of the massive capex investment they plan to do, right? Does that mean that ends up being completely wasteful and made look negative in terms of earnings for these companies, right? We've got tech earnings coming up this week and next week from many of these major players, these big companies. So that's another thing to consider. And to throw things into the fire is we have Trump's trade wars that has also yet to see. We've seen a little taste of it with Colombia, but we've yet to see more pain and pressure and potential more tariffs on bigger trading partners like China, Mexico, Canada, and etc. Right? We want to see what Trump has to do in terms of the tariffs there. And guess what? Yes, if we are getting into an aggressive trade war, the equity markets, whether DeepSeek or no DeepSeek, the equity markets, all of them are going to plunge, right? Including the Dow Jones. So a lot of risks to expect heading into February. Lot to also digest with new technology, with new news flow that we're getting as well. And we'll continue to monitor and see how this all plays out. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below, subscribe, hit the like button, bell icon to be notified on the next video, and I'll see you guys around. Cheers. Bye.